The third game in 4 nights on a back-to-back on the road. Celtics rip the Nets. Not a big deal. Next on First to the Floor.
Who's going to be first to the floor here? And it was Marcus Smart, as he usually is.
That's not the first time we've seen a superstar in green and white sacrifice the body.
Knocked away.
Oh, baby, I don't know what it is about that win, but Wayne Spooney here, and I'm feeling real good. We're back, and I'm here to bask in the glory with Jake Issenberg. What's up, Jake? How you doing?
Mate, feeling good. Friday Arvo. We got a beer. Celtics have knocked off the 2 seed. The Nets, I think we've won like 12 straight against the Nets, it feels like at this point. Team W across the board, everybody. I think JT owes the fellas a Rolex or a beer at the minimum after that one. What a W.
I know, 109.96 for the C's. Dare I say a defensive masterpiece. And just 5-game win streak. You remember when we were 1-5 in our last 6? Doesn't that feel so far away, Jake?
Oh man, yeah, the little slump that everybody was freaking out about. The boys are back. We got our little cushion at the top of the NBA now, and the identity is kind of rounding into form. We don't need to make shots anymore because we're back to grinding teams into dust. 16 points for the Nets in the fourth quarter. Kyrie trying his best to punk the Celtics, but Grant getting stops, Marcus getting stops, swarming. Great to see. Yeah, we even got JT just like full truck stick Kyrie in the first quarter. He was Reggie thought he did an ankle, but I was like, no, that was a Madden 05 just right stick into the esophagus.
Flick that stick straight up, drop somebody. Yeah. So Jake, what was your main takeaway from this one? What is like the big picture you're looking at after that win?
Yeah, I think the big picture is just the overall team effort. When things aren't going their way, no Jalen, kind of late news today, because we didn't really see anything happen to Jalen like late that we noticed, and then all of a sudden he's out, which might be a week or two. Literally everybody stepped up except for Tatum. I will say the defense from Tatum, the rebounding, like he was giving it, giving the effort, but the overall team defense, the return of the identity of the team, something you can rely on the road when shots aren't falling. That's what you want to see. Like the broadcast actually did a good job with some stats for us tonight. Best road record in the league come in today at 13-7. Bang, 14-7, 7-0 in back-to-backs.
That's incredible, man.
That's impressive. One of my least favorite things about the NBA is the fact that back-to-backs exist. There's just no reason outside of money, obviously. That back-to-back should even exist. And to be able to be 7-0 when your starting center that plays 30 minutes a night doesn't play on back-to-backs, that makes it even more impressive. So yeah, I think the ability to grind these wins out, like that's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree. And I think going back for me, the main takeaway is that team effort, which you hinted on. 6 guys in double digits. Brogdon and Smart both with 16. Derek White with 15. The 4
Cornette.
Cornette with 11. The 4 point guards, because Pritchard also had 9, just missed the double digits. So on a night where I don't know about you, Jake, but it just looked to me like Tatum was exhausted, man. Like he just didn't have it. He front rimmed a bunch of shots, and that is like the big indicator on if a guy is tired. So it's so great. And I think Smart said it in the post game, like, we just got a lot of depth this year. So missing our starting center, missing our second best player, who's going to be an all-star and flirting with third team all NBA. Granted, yes, the Nets did not have Kevin Durant, but I think it's pretty close to a wash between Durant versus Al and Jalen.
And especially when the Nets haven't played, they've had 3 days off. So not only have they have the rest advantage, but they've had 3 days to practice to get a look at what this is going to look like without KD. That's such a huge advantage. Not only were we on the back-to-back, but the third game in the 4 nights, like that's no question a wash on the road as well. There's no way you slice it. But yeah, Oz Celtics fan in the chat here. Legend, actually. I know I've been following Oz Celtics fan on Twitter for a while. You on John Corrales' podcast, remember back in the day? O'Neal was getting away with a lot.
Mugging Tatum.
A lot late. Like the lob that Tatum had to Rob late, which was a floater that missed everything. Like that was a foul. He was just getting destroyed by O'Neal. So I kind of get it. As someone that played in men's league last night after taking 3 weeks off and eating and drinking beers over Christmas, basketball is really hard. And when you're being asked to initiate so much and guard the other team's best players, it can be a lot. I just would have liked him to maybe just make his life a bit easier on himself, just move the ball around a little bit. But everybody else was there to pick it up for him. D. White, Marcus, like this guard rotation is relentless, man, on both ends. Like the playmaking that Smart and Brogdon were giving you. I mean, Smart and White were giving you, and then Brogdon just like coming at you, getting buckets. He needs to go to Marcus Smart and Derek White screen navigation camp. But everybody picked up the slack.
Yeah, and then when Pritchard plays well too, it's even more ridiculous when you just keep rolling out guys who can dribble, pass, shoot. And I thought Pritchard played an excellent defensive game, about as well as he can play on defense. He didn't really get roasted. You know, guys are going to hit shots over him.
Sure.
But Jake, what's your underrated play of the game? Because I have one myself, but what do you have off the top of the dome here?
Pritchard's a great call. Man, like when he comes in and gives the energy off the bench, and in the first half it was offensive rebound. He played great defense. I believe it was TJ Warren gets a stop, and then hits a corner three, all kind of like part of that surge to get the Celtics, because they were down almost double digits a couple of times in this game, and Pritchard was part of the surge to get them back. So that Pritchard sequence, he's huge in spots like this when it's 3 games in 4 nights, back to backs, when guys need that boost. Like he just giving 100% energy and effort when you're out there has an impact. Like the TJ McConnell effect. Like you can be undersized, but if you're fighting, and he obviously has the skill, right? Like he got to the rim, like he was doing a bit of everything, but that specific sequence, he's just going to be an offensive rebounding wizard now, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently. Him and Rob.
Him and Rob, yeah. So he must have been – he went to Rob's offensive rebounding camp in the offseason. But
he had that one fall away too. I think it might have been even over Royce O'Neal. It was either
it was over Yuta. Yuta Watanabe.
Oh, it was Yuta. That's right. Yeah. I knew it was a big wing, and that was absolutely filthy. But
I went back and I found the because there's an old video of Pritchard and Yuta playing 1-on-1 in the offseason, and Pritchard's just cooking him. So I went back and retweeted that video. It's like, Pritchard sees food when he sees Yuta. No chance.
Yeah, that was absolutely filthy. So I've got 2 because I can't decide. I'm completely indecisive. Either Tatum grifting that 3 right before half and kind of getting us back level, and I think even the lead, and then Smart immediately picked Kyrie's pocket on the other end. But I think a big one is that fourth quarter. I don't know about you, but I was like getting a little worried with how the ball was sticking. But then Grant got ISO'd on Kyrie out on the wing, and he blocked his 3-point shot. Yes. And that was kind of the seal of the game. And that's like, with the way the momentum of the game was going, I was so worried. And then when Grant blocked that and we went back the other way, and I was like, okay, we're winning this game. That was such a huge play. And Kyrie was trying to get Grant a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, when are teams going to learn? You cannot ISO Grant Williams.
Did Kyrie just wash the first round of the playoffs from his memory when Grant was shutting him down, trying to get him back here? But a great comment from Nicholas in the chat here. Like, Pritchard always plays well against the Nets. I was in person for game 2 in Boston of the first round when Pritchard had like 11 in the fourth quarter as part of that 17-point comeback. But yeah, there was a lot of like moment plays, big plays in this game, which speaks to just like the overall connectedness of the defense. Grant blocking Kyrie, the Derek White block of TJ at the rim. That's becoming a thing now. Like that. I have that in bold here. Not just by accident, but that just reminded me. Grant, man, the behind the head layup.
Luke with like the hook shot.
Yeah, dude.
And then he buries a 3 on the next possession.
Cornet, man. Like this is kind of speaks, I think, to the buy-in of the team. Like I feel like we haven't had one of these games in a little while. Like it reminds me of the game they won up in Toronto, which I believe was a back-to-back after they played the Nets, actually. And it was like they were all kind of lacking energy, but then it's the defense. You're on the road, the shots aren't falling. It sounds like that's the more difficult thing to do to me. Is to crank up the defense on when you're struggling, but they've been able to kind of go to that a few times this season. And tonight was one of the best examples of it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Jake, because it seems like as the defense has skyrocketed, we've started to see some of those bad habits on offense trickle in. And I think tonight it's just, it's game 42 or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't play that Warrior style cut move, insane offense for 4 quarters on the third game in 4 nights. You got to sacrifice some of that offensive movement. And, we saw it with like the Tatum bad post ups and stuff like that in the fourth, but it looks like they were saving all that energy for the defense, especially in the fourth quarter. So like, do you think that trade-off is real? Am I making that up in my head? And if it's real, are you okay with it?
I want to say it was Jeff Van Gundy where I heard the quote for maybe Becky Hammond. There's a few names floating around my head, but it was always like, if you're tired, rest on offense. Don't rest on defense.
It was JVG.
JVG, right? And honestly, I actually used that in my rec league last night when I was just dying. And I think there's an element to that. It was okay. Give it to Tatum in the post. Worst case, we get at least a shot up at the rim.
Right.
But on the other end, we're getting stop after stop after stop. 16 points in the fourth quarter for a team that's just like stocked full of shooting is so impressive. So I think that's definitely part of it. And you just can't be cutting and moving at that level for every night. Game, as you said, game 42, you just and the last night's game against the Pelicans was not a walk in the park. Like
definitely not.
Like they were up big late, but that was like I said before that game, it was like a plus 9 was a lock. Ended up being 11, but like the Pelicans gave them everything, and so they had to play all night, leave late, get in early. The offense for defense trade-off. I think it also, you can rely on the defense. It's like, okay, if we're going to sacrifice defense and we're going to, give that energy to offense, we've seen them play great offense and miss shots. Like one thing you can always do is lock in on defense. Like that's a far more reliable. I think especially when you're running lineups with Marcus Smart, Derek White, we're not running like the best shooting lineups out there.
No,
tonight.
Definitely not.
So let's lean into the defense. Like that's the far more reliable, unit on the team.
Yeah, and Ben says we'll probably drop both these Hornets games. Do not put that. We're riding high, Ben. Do not take me down, but
my dad said the same. He's like, Joe's got to figure out how to avoid the letdown now. Pritchard's the answer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So speaking of Pritchard, let's jump into some individual performances here. I think the big one for me, even though he was pretty inefficient, I think he was 4 or 12 from the field, but 10 assists, 2 steals, 16 points. And Marcus Smart, man, amazing defensively. He was all over Kyrie Irving, especially in that fourth quarter. He was just everywhere on everybody on defense. And I feel like even though he was inefficient, his buckets, and he went 6 to 7 from the line too, which helps. His buckets felt like whenever the Nets were making a run or we really needed a bucket to respond to a Nets run, Smart hit one of his 2 threes, or he got to the line, or he hit one of those kind of like post followaways. So I just loved what I saw from Smart tonight, even though he did have 4 turnovers.
How good is it to have Marcus Smart back? Yes, I know. And some of them were like just throwing the one-hander, like trying to spin it through a leg. It felt like he did say like, and it was late, right in the bleed the clock Celtics that we all love to see late. But he was able to get the stop and not a clear path out. But 6 from 7 from the line, 16, 10, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. He just settles them down. Like
exactly.
I do think that he could have played last night. Just seeing how much he was able to give tonight. But I like the way that they've kind of managed this. The fact they split Robin now on the back-to-backs, but giving Marcus that extra day rest because he looked fantastic. Getting into the lane, those little post-up turnarounds that are like the 12 to 14 foot range. Those I love those when it's one of these games where it's just like the game's in the mud. It's a little bit of a rock fight. Give Smart a little post up here. The Nets have a few guys out here that Marcus likes to go at. Any of these small guards, Seth, Joe Harris, Kyrie, I feel very comfortable. I know it honestly, I'm surprised to see 4 for 12, but I feel like when Marcus is shooting below 40%, that usually means he's had a good game. It's when he starts getting too high above 40 that then we start seeing some weird stuff happen.
Yeah, some lack of discipline, we'll say. How about
that?
He
had one early, and I think that was like the only one tonight where I was like, ooh. None of that. But, yeah.
That one turnover in the fourth quarter, though, when he tried to thread it to Tatum, I was like, "Oh no, Marcus, we're up 10. Please, nothing stupid."
You got to keep us on our toes, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can never be quite easy. Yeah. I think probably the player of the game for me was Derek White. 15 points, 7 boards, an assist, a block, a steal, 2 turnovers, and I think maybe the most important thing. 4 of 7 from 3. Yeah. He had been slumping hard from 3. And, to see him finally get his shot back, and no 3 was bigger than that corner 3 that completely iced the game.
He had that one late in the first half as well, where the ball movement finally ticked up kind of like 2 or 3 minutes to go. And it was Smart hit a 3. And then the next possession was just beautiful. Ever pinging around. Derek White in the corner. Like Derek White doesn't need to hit shots in order to be impactful, but when he's having a 4 for 7, like a 5 for 10, 4 for 7 game, it's just, he's the perfect player for this team. Like I'm actually very surprised to see only 1 assist, but I think that I don't think he just kind of racks up the assist numbers. He's just so quick to make those decisions, get off the ball, keep it moving, connect the offense. We already spoke about the block on TJ Warren. And in the broadcast last game, I didn't realize D. White was leading the league in blocks for guards. Makes sense. And then, of course, humble Derek White. A lot of those are strips. But he's so good at sticking with guys off of screens or recovering late and getting his arm in there. And honestly, he's been like a bit of a rim protector, it feels like, as of late. D. White, man, look.
The ball movement just
don't have to tell me, man. He's perfect for this team. Like you just have Marcus Smart 2.0. Like he's diving on the ground. He's making those little plays. Like there's just certain types of players that if there's a loose ball, some guys are just quicker to it, quicker to see things. And Derek's just another one of those guys. Like Marcus Robb, I feel like is one of those guys as well. He's second behind SGA now. SGA must have had a couple blocks tonight.
Yeah.
That's all right. He helped us out tonight, SGA. He can have the number 1 slot for tonight.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit in the Schadenfreude report. But
That's right.
yeah, he must have had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What did you, speaking of Rob, I saw our guy Eric Weiss tweeted that
Mm.
Claxton had outplayed Rob and that Rob needs to be more involved in the offense. And, if I have any complaints about Missoula, I think really Rob's imprint on the offense is not what it's been. Udoka was a little bit like this too, because Rob 2 years ago in the second half of the season was averaging like 3.5, 4 assists a game. And last year, I think he was at 1.5. And this year, it seems like he's becoming even less of a factor. I mean, offensively, he's always going to be a factor because of his rebounding and his vertical spacing. But what did you think about the Claxton Rob head-to-head matchup and just more generally Rob's role right now?
One, good to see Rob get to 29 minutes. I think again, so he had yesterday off, so he had a bit of extra rest. But I thought that he looked good as far as like maintaining. Yeah, Z Game is never going to let me forget. And I'm with 29 minutes. And by like little staggered stints. And I think who was the team we played before the Pelicans? So I'm drawing a blank.
Bulls.
But the Bulls, he faded hard in the second half. And I think that maybe they had plans to play him more minutes, but he didn't really have the gas. And so he gets an extra day off here, able to get to 29 minutes. And while I think that, I'll talk about them misusing him a little bit, but the fact that he's able to get to 29 minutes, I thought he was still in the right spots defensively. The defensive rebounding was good. Offensive rebounding wasn't an issue for us tonight. And so, like, he was solid, but I thought Claxton outplayed him. Claxton was a problem for the Celtics. Man. Yeah, he's been really, really good this year. Can't shoot a free throw still to save his freaking life. Oh my Lord.
That was hilarious when he missed the free throw. They had the lane violation and then he just missed it again. It's
I know. I was like,
that's
great.
crazy.
He's like, should you ask Claxton if he wants to shoot another one? I don't think he does.
It's like, no, just let him.
No, he was fine. So that, like, Rob's got him there, no question in the free throws. But no, Claxton's really improved this year. Like, that's been Zach Lowe on the Bill Simmons crossover I even mentioned him as like an all-star, and I was like, all right, Zach, just settle down on the Vorption and the Snorps over here. But you definitely outplayed, but I think Eric Weiss is right on it. Rob is so good at passing, and we've seen little moments of it, hitting guys, cutting to the basket, but someone's got to show Joe the Rob triple-double against the Suns last year. Like, he can be so much more. And, Scal loves to say it. We love it when Tatum and Jalen get easy baskets. And I think Rob can be so good at generating that stuff. Like, I want to see Rob get used as a hub. Like, let's start developing Rob into that Bam handoff game. Let's have, Hauser running off screens, like Jalen running off handoffs and stuff like that. Like, he's so smart and makes such good decisions that it's silly to be using him in that way. And it just makes another way for everybody's job to get easier and to pick guys up when they're down. It's like, that's another real weapon. Like, he's one of the best passing big men in the NBA. Like, why are we not using that? So that's something that Joe definitely needs to figure out. And again, like, Rob's played 12 games. So could still be coming. That's definitely something we need to see more of there.
Yeah, I do think defenses are playing him a little different now that the scouting report's out. He needs to be more aggressive with the ball, because sometimes he will get the ball at the free throw line and he won't even turn and look at the hoop. Like, I want Rob, every time he's open at the free throw line or like from 15 feet, shoot it. I don't care if you shoot 1 of 30, like, shoot that shot, because he's good enough. He can shoot free throws. That shot will come. And I'm with you. If I could pick a skill for Rob to get, it wouldn't be like, okay, 3-point shooting. It would be Bam's handle, because if he had Bam's handle with his passing instincts and his athleticism, dude, he would be so incredibly good. But just be more aggressive, Rob. That's what I'm dying for, man.
We see little bits of it. I mean, the play where he freaking blocked the 3-point shot and then got on the break, one dribble layup, like
Giannis. He looked like Giannis.
Little, 'Little, 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 ' Yeah, so we've seen again like flashes and Rob. That's like those things just go together. You see these little moments. We sort of like, he backed down a smaller player the other day, and little things like that where yeah, you're right. Just try it. Yeah, Eric, again, try stuff with Rob. Empower Rob to try stuff. If you have a smaller guy on you, we want you to go up. We want you to take these mid-range jumpers. Like one of my favorite Rob stats was that he was 89% from the free throw line in the playoffs. Like this guy can make mid-range jumpers. When on a night like tonight, when the offense is sputtering, like we can run a Rob pick and pop. Like just throw one in there. See, no one's going to guard it.
They're going to drop. They're going to drop all the way to the rim.
He can be completely wide open.
I want him to shoot 2 mid-range jumpers a game. Just like, I don't care. Just shoot 2. Because that's the only way he's really going to get the feel for it and get the confidence. And last year, he probably made 10 of them, but he probably only shot 20. Like his touch is not bad at all. So 2 more guys I want to talk about. Malcolm Brogdon, somewhat maligned on these airwaves in the month of December, which I think admitted, fittingly so. He was not good in December, but he's really starting to get his feet under him. I think he's averaging almost 25 and 5 over the last 5 games. Another efficient 16 points tonight, 2 assists. I like to see that click up a little higher, but on a night where the defense or the offense rather was lacked. The first half, I think the ball was moving well, but the second half we started to slow down on that end as the defense kicked up. So we needed all of Brogdon's 16 points, man. Like he really kept us afloat with Tatum on the bench.
I was walking, doing my morning walk this morning, and I was just thinking about Brogdon and the Celtics, and I had this comparison, and it's not necessarily a negative thing. But, and I could be off here, is he kind of like superstar version of Schroeder in that
he can shoot?
he's a bucket getter. Like really when he's out there, he should be doing this. Same with Schroeder. They're looking for their offense. And that's what he should be doing. But as far as ball movement goes and like getting the ball zipping around, it's not really what he does. And I think that's okay if he's hitting shots. I think when we get into, and maybe this goes back to Joe, is it's like if there's a Malcolm game where he's not hitting shots or he's looking off for whatever reason, you jack up Derek and Marcus's minutes a bit more just because like Ben in the chat here. Yes, my long walks on the beach often feature Celtics players.
That's all right.
I get my head clear. I get away from Twitter.
Do your best thinking.
I can really get the juices flowing. And the Schroeder Brogdon comparison popped up today. But again, superstar version. I think it goes back to Brad kind of being right about the Schroeder move. It was just Schroeder's not good enough for what we needed him to do in order to actually fit here. And he was worse at the things that make this team worse. Like more of a black hole. Plays even slower. Like Brogdon's far more decisive, far better scorer, far better creator, far better shooter. That's why I'm saying like superstar version. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the stickiness of the ball, which does feed into some of the bad habits of this team. I think he can sometimes exacerbate. And I think again, like we're 42 games into this thing. Brogdon's still new to the team. Joe's still figuring out which levers to pull. So I think maybe, and like Tanae only played 20 minutes, right? And I thought he was really good because we needed, as you said, we needed his 16 points. Like
we did
2 huge buckets in the third when we were kind of tracking like either tied 4 or 5 points behind. And Brogdon was like hitting really big shots when nothing was going. And that's something that he can do when everything falls apart. And like when you talk about playoff basketball, ball movement just kind of does die a lot of the time. Like unless you're the Warriors, like every team needs players that can create plays for themselves, and he's a guy that can do it.
Look, ISO scoring, for better or worse, is the most valuable skill in basketball. If you can just throw a guy the ball and he could beat his man and get a good shot, like there's no other skill you'd rather have. I mean, it kind of goes against sort of the soul of how I like to watch and play basketball, but that's the truth, dude. Like, if you have a guy who can ISO and score 60% of the time, the best play you can do is just give that guy the ball. And Brogdon, man, for his faults, which he has some, he can get a bucket, and his shooting is just absolutely ridiculous right now. I mean, I knew he was a good shooter and was probably better, as us Celtics fan says he takes long walks on the beach thinking about Jake. And Nick says, I take long walks listening to the First of the Floor podcast. Legends. That's what we like to hear.
Legends.
So, I mean, Brogdon's got his faults, but dude, you just need talent, right? And he's going against these bench units, and there's times when he's feeling good. He just looks like the best player on the floor at times. And that is an absurd luxury to have off the bench. My buddy and I were talking about, like, would you rather have White or Brogdon? And we both agreed we'd rather have Derek White because he's kind of essential. Like, Brogdon's a Ferrari. You know what I mean?
He's a luxury.
Exactly. You don't need him, but if you got him, man, that looks good.
Oh, baby,
in the garage, right?
You're getting some looks. You're pulling some things here and there. Yeah, no, Brogdon. Look, there's going to be several games in the playoffs where Brogdon has 15 to 25 points and win us playoff games based on his ability to get buckets. Like the Uncle Drew movie, the game always has and always will be about a bucket. Yes, Ben, obligatory. Do not forget to like and subscribe, please. We are like crawling our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there. We're gonna get there before the playoffs. So please hit the subscribe button and the like button so we can fight the evil algorithm that's conspiring against us.
Yeah, and if you're listening on the Celtics blog podcast feed and not on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Second of all, please make a Google account and subscribe on YouTube if you're not already.
Do both.
Very much appreciate that.
Yeah, just download. Don't have to listen. It's easy. Yeah, just give us those clicks.
Yeah. So I think Grant Williams, incredible game. One guy didn't miss though. That man is Luke Cornett. He went 5 for 5 from the floor, plus minus of 0, which is okay, I guess.
It's all we need.
Yeah.
It's all we need.
Yeah, exactly. 5 rebounds, 3 of them offensive, and he buried a 3. Just some nice minutes from Cornett. It's nice that he's showing that, look, if you're missing one of those centers, Luke can come in for 16 minutes, and you're going to be okay. And on a minimum, basically was on his way out of the league practically on a minimum contract, dude. You can't ask for much more. Brad is really good at this.
The Celtics are 7-0 in back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Luke Cornett's a big reason why.
Yeah.
Like he has filled in admirably. Like Blake Griffin's actually, we didn't even think about it. No Blake. This used to be the thing, right? Like if Horford was resting on back-to-backs, it was Blake time. And I guess that's what the Rob Williams coming back thing kind of affords you. And I feel like Luke has kind of struggled a little bit lately, but I just think it's so hard to play 3 to 5 minutes. Like if you're coming in and playing 2 minutes, you make one mistake and that can kind of just be it. Like, things just might not roll your way. You don't get a chance to impact the game when your stints are so short. It was good to see him get a really good game under the belt because I think they're going to continue to try and keep Rob's minutes down. So he's and we're going to need to continue to also get minutes played with the double bigs lineup. So if you're going to play both Rob and Al together, there's going to be minutes available for another big man. Cornett should be playing like 9 to 12 minutes on a normal. How many did he get tonight? Almost 17 minutes tonight. Yeah. He should be playing like 9 to 12 on a normal night as Rob continues to get back in game shape. But he's just solid. Like 7 foot tall. If he hits a 3, that's all we need, right? So give you the defense, the offensive rebounding. Yeah, he's been watching Rob tape.
That's right. Yeah.
The offensive rebounding aura. Yeah. Oh man. Was that okay? That like reverse almost offensive thing? I think it was fine.
Reggie Miller said it was a goaltend, so I'm inclined to think it was not.
I was going to say that means it's probably not a goaltend.
Yeah, I think it was short of the rim. I think it was pretty clearly short of the rim. Yeah. So I think it was fine, but they missed a goaltend on Claxton anyway on a Tatum floater. So
okay,
that was going down.
Reggie was like, and he got it at the perfect spot, and I'm like, did he?
No, he did not.
Bloody Reggie. Anyway.
All right, Jake. So before we move on from the game, so nice win, 5 in a row. But I want to ask you the opposite. Any negative takeaways from this game? Anything you're worried about?
Oh, big picture, nothing I'm worried about from this one. The only negative I would say was Tatum. Actually no. I was a Celtics fan in the chat. Hauser, maybe I'll get to him after Tatum. But not that Tatum clearly didn't have it tonight. And I thought that how many shots did he end up getting tonight? 7 for 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Like I also found myself wanting Tatum to get the ball. I was like, it was the third quarter and things were kind of in the mud. And I was
messy.
Like, can we get Tatum back in there? At least he's always drawing gravity. I just feel comfortable when things are running through him. He even had one play. He drove on Royce late and he had the lane. Like it was going to be one of those classic either Tatum Euro lay or just two-hand. Yeah, and he pulled up, right? And he faded to the left.
Yeah, I know exactly the play you're talking about. Yeah.
There was no one there.
Yep.
And Claxton wasn't there. That was the play. And I was like,
he's just gassed.
Yeah, he's not here for that.
Not a good Tatum game, I will say, but
defensively, I thought, especially first half, he was really, really good there.
Yeah, 11 rebounds, 5 assists.
Look,
we're 2 years ago, Tatum has these bad shooting nights, and he's got 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Right? At least he's finding ways to impact the game on the glass. 11 defensive rebounds, no offensive. But
20, 11, and 5. Like, if that's your bad game.
Right.
We can with elite defense, we can live with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
let's talk about Hauser because I think the Nets are a particularly bad matchup for him defensively because he does pretty well against these bigger wings. He can kind of muscle up a little bit, but the quick guards I think are tough for him, and they've got a load of them with Seth Curry and Kyrie Irving, and Simmons is not obviously a little guard, but he's just huge, even though he refuses to shoot. So,
oh my goodness, what an experience!
Are you
Ben Simmons thing? Sorry,
I mean, no, it's all good. He went 1 of 2. He wasn't, he had 2 assists. Like I thought Hauser wasn't a complete disaster. But he also is a long cry from who we probably thought he was going to be at this point in the season after he came out so hot to start the year. I mean, are you worried about Hauser?
Yeah. It's wild. He's still above 40% on the year for threes.
That is nuts.
But last 15 games, he's at 31%. Even that feels high, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm worried about him, but he needs to be hitting shots for him to really be creating like real value, right? There was like Hauser's leading the league in plus minus and stuff like that, and this is like the first stretch since he was 18 where he has shot below 40% for an extended period. Even as I said, still shooting above 40% for the year, so. He seems to be confident still when he's shooting, but the one three that he took tonight was like went off like the left side of the backboard. Like it didn't even hit the rim. So I don't know. Shooting's weird. These shooters are like pitchers or these weird little niche athletes. So they're like kickers, like Neesmith. Clearly something happened in his head. We gotta.
Do you know who Derek Lowe is?
No, I don't know who Derek Lowe is.
Okay, so he was a starter and then a closer for the Red Sox, and he was a sinker pitcher, right? And like from the first inning, you could tell if Lowe if he was keeping the sinker low, he was going to have a good game because he didn't have blow away stuff, right? He didn't strike a lot of people out. He let people hit it, but the sinker was deadly if he kept it low, and it'd just be ground balls all day long.
Yeah.
But if he kept it high, those ground balls turned to like roped doubles and home runs. And like Hauser feels a little bit like that. Like if he comes in and he buries the first shot, it's like, all right, let him go, Joe. Let him get 3 or 4 up. But I think it goes back to what you were saying about Cornette. Like, it's so hard. He played 5 minutes. Tonight, right? Like, he took 2 shots. You know, you can't really make much of a positive or a negative impact in like, you have to be a disaster to really be bad in 5 minutes. So you know, Tatum played 38 minutes on a night where he clearly didn't have it. Like, are we going to lose this game if Hauser gets up to 10 minutes? I don't think so. So I'd like to see Joe just trust him a little bit more, back him, and, you know, let him make mistakes and screw up a little bit. Cause I feel like the leash is a little tight right now.
Firstly, apologies to my dad. He's going to be very upset that I didn't know who Derek Lowe was. He's going to be listening, being like, shame.
That's a deep
shame
cut.
on my
That's
house.
Deep cut.
No, Dad would have got that in a second or less. But yeah, it feels like, I wonder if the Hauser Pritchard thing, like, I agree that whoever it's going to be, the leash, like, you got to let them go. If they're going to miss 2 or 3 shots, like, that just can't be it. Not in the regular season when they're the 1 seed. So I'm with you. Like, and again, like, you're right. Defensively, not a good matchup with Kyrie, Seth Curry, those kinds of guys. He handles it. Yeah, the more like the wing type players, that's where he's doing a good job. And he gets on the boards, stuff like that. You know, he's doing a little bit of everything. But yeah, when your leash is so short, I think for your confidence, I think that's kind of what happened to Naismith in a way. It was like,
oh, definitely.
You miss your first shot, and one, he's like, okay, well, I'm probably coming out soon. Then obviously the next 2 things that he did were going to be a disaster. Hauser doesn't quite have the same swings and range of outcomes as Naismith, but
nobody does.
Nobody does goes from superstar to NBL player quite as quickly as Aaron Naismith. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just tough, but that's also part of the NBA, and that's part of like his job at the same time. It's like, you got to come in and you're going to get a wide open 3.
It's a tough league, dude. It's a tough league to stick in, man, if you're not athletic.
There's a reason they're called the Never Broke Again League. Like, they're paying you guys a lot of money to shoot that thing. So if you're not doing that, like, I get where Joe's coming from at the same time.
Doubt.
But maybe like, you know, going into the Hornets game, we're able to get a longer leash. But I don't know. I kind of feel like coming out of this, I'm like, do we need to get Pritchard some minutes? I was only 8 when the Sox broke the curse, so I'll cut you some slack. Thanks, Dad, in the chat here. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know, like Pritchard, especially when we're going to have trap games, like, I feel like Pritchard I personally would maybe get, if House is going to be cold, Pritchard's maybe giving you more than just the shooting right now, which is impressive for a 6'1" guy.
Yeah, where I stand on Pritchard is, if you're not going to play him, trade him because he's got some value. But I think we should play him because I love Pritch, man. I think he's legitimately a good NBA player. I don't know if we can say that about Hauser. And Z Gamer in the chat says he'd be willing to trade for a better wing to get Tatum and Brown some rest. We're a championship team. Like, if you can upgrade, you go upgrade. Whether Hauser's, Hauser could be playing better, and I'd still say if you can upgrade on him, do it. As my cat attacks me endlessly here. Credit to me for my professionalism. All right, Jake. So let's move on from the game because we said it was going to be a short one, and we're 45 minutes in somehow.
Every time.
I know. So, big picture. The defense is back, dude. You got a stat here for us from the 3rd of November till today. The C's have the 5th ranked defense. Why were we worried?
Well, I personally was never worried. I don't think this podcast was ever especially worried. It was like, okay, this team is full of, there's a reason everybody on the team pretty much received an all defense vote last season. It's because Marcus Smart has been one of the best defenders in the league for a decade. Jason Tatum has been one of the most underrated wing defenders since he stepped foot in the league. When he's locked in, is arguably the best wing defender in the league, maybe outside of OG Anunoby. We knew Rob was coming back. Derek White has made several, I'll say a couple all defensive teams. We maybe want a little more Brogdon defensively, but there's no holes here. There's no holes on defense. Like the defense, I don't think I was ever worried about, but to see it not finally, but I feel like I can rely on it now on a day-to-day basis. They're not on the historic pace they were the second half of last year, but they're continuing to trend in the right direction. We don't need them to grind teams into the dust in the regular season. We need them to grind teams into the dust in April, May, and June.
Exactly.
And the Eastern Conference, dude, like outside of the Nets, there's not a lot of good offense in the East, man. Like the Bucks, we defend them better than anyone. The Sixers, I mean, we've had Embiid's number for years now as well. There's just not a lot of offense in the league and in the East. I mean, and so when you've got a defense that's elite, that just accentuates how impactful that can be in the playoffs. And so as it just continues to trend in the right direction, I would like to see a few. I mean, I'm sure we will. Like, I think an example of that is the fourth quarter today, where we gave up 16 points in the fourth quarter.
Crazy.
And we've seen it. Like the Thunder game comes to mind at home, because I didn't again.
Not the last Thunder game.
Yeah,
certainly.
I'm like the Men in Black with the guys with the second OKC game.
Never
happened off the grid. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But we have seen it in flashes, but and that's all we need. We just need to know that it's there. Because when we get to the playoffs, we can go, just all right. We're cranking it, and that's it.
The fact that we're able to show the defensive ceiling is just as high as last year is what matters. Like, I don't care if they play that level. I don't want them to play that level of defense game in and game out, because it clearly wore them out in the second half of last year, especially with the tight rotation Udoka went with. So the fact that they're like, yeah, dial it up. Okay, we need to win this Nets game, so let's play 12 minutes of complete lockdown defense on Kyrie Irving and company. That's what matters. And
the Nets, right? One of the best offenses in the league since KD and Kyrie have gotten together.
And the defenses.
Yeah.
They're great defense this year, but
that's surprising me. I probably need to alter my perception a little bit, because I'm probably still relying on what we saw in the first round of the playoffs, because they are better defensively now with Royce O'Neal and Ben Simmons. But if you're playing Kyrie and Seth Curry and Joe Harris a lot of minutes, I still feel pretty good about the Celtics' ability to get buckets. But for whatever reason, we play these guys really well defensively. Like going back to the game that we referenced earlier, the most recent Nets game, we held them under 100 again, I'm pretty sure. I think it was 101 to 86 for whatever reason is the number that's popping into my head. We play these guys well no matter what. KD is not a guy that handles those doubles especially well. And the Celtics are when they are locked in. We've been getting reps on Joel Embiid for 5 years now. And it pays off. And Giannis. And the Nets are unfortunately a victim of those reps.
Yeah, I think we do so well against teams who run their offense through one or two players. Yep. It's really the ball movement teams like the Warriors and Oklahoma City. Like how Oklahoma City plays is just tough. I mean, hey, they whooped the Sixers tonight. So
paces, yeah.
Those teams who try to slow it down and get good looks out of isolation, we are just completely built to stop. So with that, Jake, before we get out of here, let's rank the top three defenders for the Celtics this year. Give me your number 3 defender for
number
the
3.
series.
Okay, we're gonna go bottom to top.
I've got mine if you want me to say it.
Yeah, you go. I think I have my top 3, but you go.
Okay, my 3 is Jason Tatum.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's been great. He's been slipped a little bit recently. Yeah. I mean, he's got a massive offensive load, so it's not crazy that he slipped some, but I would have Tatum in the 3 slot.
Yeah, I was tossing up because I'll go now. We'll do a little draft here.
All right.
Yeah. I was tossing up Tatum and Smart for 3-2.
Mhm.
And I think first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, Tatum was like
Way up there.
all defensive player. Definitely slipped a little bit. Marcus is too. I'm excluding Rob. I just don't think it's
We're gonna have the same list because I know who your number one is.
Yeah,
We're gonna have the same list. Go, Marcus.
but
he would
look,
be my two.
Yeah, well, and Marcus has been incredible, but he hasn't been quite the depoy, I don't think, of last year.
And
yet.
he started
Yeah.
slow defensively. I did not
would
think
say,
he was great for the first couple of weeks, but recently he's turned it up.
I would say almost Tatum and Marcus have almost flipped in the sense where Marcus was playing good enough defense, but now Marcus is now inching back towards like lock all defense, depoy level. And then we have
I think Jeffrey
the
Francis
mistress.
might have
the Buffalo
called number one. The Buffalo's got him, dude. He has been
unreal.
Derek White has been so incredible on defense, chasing shooters through screens, locking up primary ball handlers, fighting down low, and then blocking. He has like as many blocks as Giannis. Like, this is ridiculous what he's doing, dude.
He's fantastic. He's such a joy, and it's also important. Like he takes the assignment a lot of the nights. Even if it is a Paolo or a bigger player, like he's willing to get his hand in there, take charges, recover late, make blocks. And even tonight, he had the great block, and then like 2 or 3 possessions later, he had a really important defensive rebound over Ben Simmons. Like, it's just, and that's a huge part of defense as well, is the defensive rebounding and the fact that he's able to rebound above his height, above his position, is so important. And it just alleviates the load that, we've always wanted to bring in that extra wing to alleviate some of the load for Jalen and Jason, but Derek's kind of doing it. It's like every night, it doesn't matter who it is. It's, Halliburton, it's Kyrie tonight or Ben Simmons or whoever. He's just always in the right spot. Whether it's, getting close to leading the league in blocks or leading the league in charges. He makes me feel good.
He has one less block than Jarrett Allen. One more than Jakob Poeltl, and he has 5 more than Clint Capella. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous, dude. Like, he's just been so good on that end, so versatile. And I had that video I put out about White and the kind of underrated things he does.
Dwight Schrute.
Dwight Schrute, baby. And in that, I have a clip of him getting posted up by Jarrett Allen, and he just stands Allen up and forces a tough hook shot that Allen misses. I mean, him and Smart, it's just crazy seeing guys that small dominate on the defensive end, man. It's just so fun to watch.
Such a good trade.
Yeah.
Such a good trade.
Great trade. Trade.
The people that were upset about the 14-year-old that we were going to draft in 2028, that looks a little silly now. He's so good. He just does everything we need. Defense, offense. He's going to end up being he's going to go down Celtics lore as just one of those guys that everybody loved.
Yeah,
but
like
a little
DJ.
Polarizing. Yeah,
a little polarizing. Yeah. Okay, Jake, real quick, because it's getting late over here on the East Coast.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's Friday tomorrow. I'll be all right. I can work from home. But before we go, your segment, the segment I know you look forward to every time we get to do it. It's a Schadenfreude report. We have some big news from this evening, Jake. So please let us know what happened to all of the teams we love to hate.
What a night for the Schadenfreude report. It's been a little slow on the news desk a little lately. It feels like.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
But tonight, I mean, obviously, Celtics take down the 2 seed, Brooklyn Nets. Look, and that's an important win, man.
It is.
Any win you get against Nets, Bucks, Cavs, Sixers.
Yeah.
Those could matter for head-to-head matchups. Nets lose. Sixers lose by 20. Punked. Let's go, man.
What contender loses by double digits to OKC? Come on.
Ridiculous. At
Never
home?
happened. Yeah,
At
jeez.
home? Oh my goodness. We would
Maybe
never do
in
that at home.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, in OKC, the long flight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, you've been eating funny food over there. Man, don't mess with the Thunder. Like they will just.
Dude, they're good.
They should have beat the Heat the other day as well. Kendrick Williams. Sorry, you national TV. My Australian son. You ruined Josh Giddey's 16-point triple double. Anyway, the Heat though beat the Bucks. No Giannis tonight, but again, more separation in the top. And then as we speak, Cleveland just made a little run there. Portland Trail Blazers are up 7 in the second quarter on the Cavs. So
and the Mavs are up 13 on the Lakers. So it's shaping up to be quite the night for Celtics fans.
Oh, thank you, Oz Celtics fan. Blazers down to 11 at the minute. There we go.
All right.
What a day, huh?
Yeah, not a bad one. So Jake, unless you got anything for us.
No, I appreciate you, Spoony, staying up late.
Of course. We
could have gone tomorrow, but I'm driving like 2.5 hours south to pick up the perfect surfboard. So that's
far more important. I can deal with a little lack of sleep for one day. I do it all the time.
What a legend. Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know about that. But all right. That's going to do it for this one. Celtics 5-game win streak. Big W. First of the Floor, subscribe, Celtics blog podcast feed, or the First of the Floor YouTube. Thank you all for listening. First of the Floor, out.